I can see this being the happy place, and it looks like you guys have created a very cool thing. So let's check out the livestock and stuff like that. We'll go on to that and kind of talk about what's worked and not worked, and where you guys are headed, and see what we got there. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. All right, so we're moving on to talk livestock now. We hit a little bit of it before when we were in the greenhouse about the 4-H involvement over the years, but we got quite a few chickens here. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on with the chickens, and then we'll go check out the hogs. I think you've got some hogs, right?
We do have some hogs back there. So the chickens you see before us, these are all started pullets. So what that means is we raise them from chicks. They'll lay eggs about 16 weeks. So we got them in the beginning of March. And they'll lay eggs about 16 weeks, give or take, and they get pretty solid then afterwards. The variation we have here is called an Isa Brown, so it's a mix of a couple breeds, but it's a very steady, predictable egg layer. So about 300 eggs per year per chicken is what these birds will lay. Now the reason we're raising them, and we've done this in the past, is for people that want to have a backyard flock. They just want to have a couple hens, take them home. They're pretty close to laying eggs. They're not in that fragile state of chick where you have to keep them warm and you have a whole lot of things. At this point, they're pretty hardy, and they can go on home. So we've sold some of these so far. We actually, as part of just the posting and talking about what we're doing with the greenhouse, since we're trying to give people a platform to be able to grow their own things. So this is part of growing your own things, raising your own eggs. And with egg prices as they've been and availability, this gives someone a very predictable source of eggs.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So you take all of the, I'd say the hard part, getting the chicks, feeding them, raising them up to where they're about ready to start laying eggs, and
keeping them warm, making sure everything's good, keeping all the predators out, because they come in as little fluffy chicks. We get them a day after they're born. And when you go to the post office at 5:30 in the morning, you hear all this noise in the post office. And I know the postal ladies over there, and they're like, yeah, your chicks are here. And you hear chirp, chirp, chirp through the back of the post office. But yeah, we bring them home and just nurse them along to get them to this point.
Very cool. Let's go check out. And on the way there, I think you said you've got a bunch of fruit trees. Maybe we'll talk about those once we get there. But let's go see what you got going on with the hogs.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, so before we get to the paddock, I noticed that there's a whole bunch of other chickens here. So Jason, tell us what we got here.
So this is our family flock. Of course, we got our proud rooster right there in the middle, and he does a pretty good job of keeping things in line. And then we just have a mix of some different breeds, Lavender Orpingtons, our Black Australorps, our one Polish that's over there. And these are just good, consistent egg layers. We get a lot of browns, a variety of brown colored eggs. We get some green eggs out of them. The thing we get a lot of questions about is there a difference between a brown egg, a green egg, and a white egg? Yes. One's brown, one's green, one's white. The contents of the egg are exactly the same. The yolks are the same, the membranes are the same. Maybe the Black Orpingtons might lay a larger egg than, say, the Polish will, but it's an egg. So the quality of the egg really comes around how the chicken's fed. Do they get to pick through the yard, which you can see they've picked this apart pretty good, so we'll move them off somewhere else. But they tend to be pretty easy. They winter over well. People ask about what do you do when it's cold. We let them get inside so they can get out of the wind. We don't really do anything with heat other than heat the water so that it doesn't freeze. Just egg production slows down. And in some cases, like Americanas, they're fair weather layers. This weather, they're lay, you get to winter, that's it. No more eggs from them.
That's very cool. And this one over here in the corner was the Polish,
that's
you said?
The Polish, yes. Normally she has a big tuft of feathers coming out of the top, but the roosters picked on her a little bit there.
Beautiful bird.
But yeah, we've had silkies and all kinds of different breeds, and this is what we would take to fair as a fancy bird. Now these birds are too old to go to fair, so they're just our layers. Okay. But in the younger days, you take them and the kids would show, and you're judging those against the Standard of Perfection, which is one of the chicken breed books.
Okay. Very cool. And we got a performance out of your rooster too.
Oh, we do. Night and day. 3 in the morning sometimes I'll hear him.
Yeah. That's great. All right, let's go check out those hogs.
Okay.
All right, we are at the hog paddock here. Pretty good sized space, bigger than what I was thinking. So Jason, tell us what we got here, why you got them in this much area, what kind of hogs we've got.
Sure. So this area here, this is part of our horse pasture. We don't have the horses right now, but our horses never used this, so we decided to convert it into a pig area. And it started with a friend from church years ago who he raised hogs, and he raised one for us, and we decided, well, let's give that a try. I think we can make a go of it too. So right now we have 7 of these. We just got them last week. We use a breeder down in Milford Center that takes care of that part for us. So they were born in February, and we'll keep them until mid-September, and they'll go to the butcher. Okay. But it's a mix. It's a Duroc Berkshire mix. So he's been experimenting with that mix over the couple years, and he really likes it from the little sweeter meat, some marbling in the meat. And last year we had the same breed, and our hanging weights were a little over 300 each.
What would you put these at right now?
Well, I'd say, these small ones here, under 100 pounds, because I told you before I had one pass away, so I had to haul it out of here. But we'll get them up probably to about 400 pounds. Wow. Is about what we were running last year.
So four times the size of the little ones right now.
Yeah. They're big, they're strong, they're brutes, they break everything, they're pigs. Yeah. So you really have to think about how you reinforce the area here. We run an electric wire along the base of the fence, and it keeps them from pushing on the fence. Okay. So that's worked out pretty well. Just some things we've done over the years. We added a much larger feeder. They were going through every 2 days. We'd be filling that feeder up.
And so what do you feed them generally?
It's custom mix, just like I was talking about with the chickens. The feed mill down in Plain City, ASC Feeds, they mix it up for us, and they're really good about saying, okay, here's what you're trying to accomplish, here's where you're at. For example, at the beginning of June, here's your wormer mix that you should put in them, just to make sure all that's taken care of. And they do a great job for us.
So they're not getting leftover breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Well, they get that too. So it's very nice. We have a giant garbage disposal out here.
So some composting.
And it's usually the first couple days after the pigs have gone to the butcher. Like, what do we do with this? Because it's just so automated at that point. Extra food, go to the pigs, and here we go.
That's funny.
And especially as the garden matures, and now we start cleaning out the garden, we'll just bring that back here and throw it all in here, and they have a great time with it.
They just take care of it, huh?
They do.
So funny story, Kelly and I were in Hawaii on the Big Island, and on Yelp we saw this diner that was like well rated. So we drive up into the hills and we go to this diner, and the portions they served were enormous. Like, the pancakes barely fit on the plate. And they had a message in the menu that said, "Don't worry, we don't expect you to finish them. Everything that's not finished goes to our hogs." And so that was kind of their thing at this diner, was they're going to feed you like the biggest portions, delicious diner food, right? And you're not going to leave hungry, and nothing's going to waste. No. And I just thought that was kind of the coolest thing, was that they, it's going to the, we live in the city. Everything that we don't eat goes in the trash. And I just saw Delaware County has a composting company or a program.
Oh, Price Organics?
Yes.
Yes. We actually get, so there's a big pile back there behind you of what we affectionately refer to as zoo brew.
Yes.
Which is that compost, because it comes from the Columbus Zoo and mixed in with other things that we'll use around different parts of the property.
Interesting. Yeah, because they'll give you a free 5-gallon bucket or some sort of pail to put your food scraps in, and then deposit it, give it to them. Right. Which, interesting. It's too far away for us to do that sort of thing. We'd have to freeze them and try to keep them from being a mess, but very cool.
So they're fairly easy to take care of. Once you get them established and they understand the routine of where the feeder is, how the feeder works, how the water works. So it's really just coming out, checking every day, make sure things are working the way they need to, the water's fresh and getting filled up. Yep. Occasionally you have to clean out the lines because they get a little gummy.
Yeah. So you said you guys generally butcher 2 for yourself, sell 6.
Correct.
Are they sold before you raise them, or do people just reach out to you on Facebook?
We'll have a repeat batch of customers, but then we'll also put it out to people I work with, just people I know in the community. Pam will have it up on the Facebook page. So it's just every year's a little different customer base. So it's a small batch.
We've done a half cow or something like that with a neighbor before. Do you get a better price on the meat that you get, or are you just getting a better quality, a fresher, you know where it came from? You know, people are willing to pay for organics and things like that. Right. How does it compare to if I were to go buy similar amount of meat? I'm just not getting it with all the antibiotics and all that kind of stuff.
You're trading quality for price.
Right. Okay.
When you do something like this, the same thing with the chickens and the turkeys.
Yep.
But in our case, we know where the pigs were at the breeder, how they were treated and fed, what happens here in this process. The butcher we go to, we know how they're going to do the cuts, we know how they're going to be packaged.
Yep.
So we see that process start to finish. So we think we get a better quality product that way, doing it in smaller batches.
Yeah, very cool.
Yes, if you're doing this to try to save dollars, this isn't to save dollars.
Right. This is about quality of food.
Quality of food, being able to control your own food source.
Yeah. I took a class back in the 90s at Ohio State that was an animal husbandry course that I took because it was going to be an easy grade. But it was the education, the first time I got educated on factory farming and the differences and all that. And it was a very enlightening course. I actually turned out to be one of my more favorite classes. It was interesting. It just was a different way of looking at what we all take for granted when we go to the grocery store and pick up a pound of bacon or 12 eggs or whatever.
Right. We don't buy our meat in the store. We either raise it or we know who we're buying our beef from because we don't have enough open space for that. Right. But everything else, we have a hand in what's happening with that.
That's cool. Animal. That's very cool. Very cool. Well, let's wrap this up with a little discussion. You had some fruit trees up here. Maybe we'll walk up there, stand in the middle of those, and give us a quick lowdown on what we've got going on from a fruit perspective. This is good. I love this, man. This is fascinating to me. This is what I would.
And this all started because Katie joined, or Pam said, our kids are going to do 4-H.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that? And we're going to raise chickens. How do we do that? I grew up in New Jersey. I don't know anything about raising chickens.
That's the best part about it, though, is you're learning.
We have learned a lot over the years.
And to me, that's my passion, is kind of that learn on the fly, do stuff. I don't read mystery novels and things like that. I read stuff that teaches me how to do something I'm not doing currently.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's a fun thing to do. And checking out your bat house too.
We don't have any takers yet.
No?
No.
All right, so I noticed some fruit trees up by the greenhouse and noticed some trees back here. You guys got quite a few planted. We
got a variety. I mean, it's more of just the kind of fruits we like and that we're interested in seeing if we can raise. So a mix of, these are pear trees, our cherry tree, but it's not been doing great. We have some older peach trees over here that those are going to get replaced because they've just been around a long time.
Yep.
And they've done their thing. Apple trees around, apricots, and just kind of a mix of fruits that will grow in Ohio.
You said the cherry tree, that's one of the ones I've been interested in trying out. Is that like a Bing cherry or?
Pam would know the answer to that one. Yeah, she's more of can tell you the species and stuff.
Right.
I'll dig the hole, put it in the ground kind of person.
Has it produced in the past?
It has. The challenge we've run into, we've had a little disease on that tree, so we've had to really just trim it out quite a bit. The other thing you run into, of course, is it ripens, and just before it ripens, the birds zero in on it and they grab the fruit and go. So we've had that problem. The peach trees, it always seems, want to be ready during our fair week. So we're all busy at fair doing it, 4-H and poultry and everything else, and then the trees are ready, and then we get home from fair and the fruit's already on the other side of that.
So it actually just spoils on the tree, or?
Sometimes.
Okay, I didn't know if you were saying you had a bunch of fat raccoons laying around
too, but these trees tend to be up high enough the deer will maybe nibble at the lower parts.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to bring these trees down bit by bit too, because they got out of hand for for a little bit. And
Yeah.
doing a little more management.
All right, so Jason, I really appreciate your time. Something I didn't realize when I came out here was just kind of what all went into the planning and what you guys have been doing here for years. And the fact that this kind of really started with creating a sustainable food source for you and the family, education for your kids, and it's turned out to be a lot more than that. So tell us a little bit more about kind of what's evolved here and how it's turned into what it's turned into.
Well, we started out with a really small garden. We used to have strawberries up around the house, and our older girls used to go out every day and just pick the strawberries off the little hill that's on the patio. So that was interesting to see. And then over time, it's just, let's add this. And Pam just seemed to have an interest in this, and I just went along to do whatever she asked me to do. And then just adding the trees have given us some different produce options. Added to our fruit, growing the garden, having the raspberries over there, which I pointed to, and the blackberries that are over that way, have just given us a variety of food that we can grow right on our property. And then over time, we've had the chance to share those experiences to people that were in our age years ago, where they're just getting started. They bought a house, they don't know how to take care of a tomato, but they want to try. They feel like they need to have that skill. So it's really, I would say, part of it is just being 4-H advisors and teaching the kids the different skills and helping to nurture them along. It's helped us quite a bit, but it's given us the opportunity to really pay it back to people that we either directly come in contact with through our county, through our extension office, or just people on YouTube that put out a lot of great information.
That's great. That's great. So you've used the various sources to learn, and now you're giving back. And you mentioned the Mid-Ohio Food Co-op. Was that the right?
Mid-Ohio Food Cooperative.
The Mid-Ohio Food Cooperative that you guys are donating some stuff to. So really a fascinating operation you've got here. It looks like a lot of fun. As I mentioned earlier, I'm somewhat in awe and jealous. I think so many of us are looking to have that homestead experience, and you know, it's not easy. You guys have learned a lot of things the hard way, and a lot of experiments. You guys have showed me around here different things you're experimenting with. So a
lot of trial and error.
Yeah,
along the way.
Well, I think it's a really cool thing, and I hope everybody's enjoyed watching here. And again, we're at Watkins Mill. Is it Watkins Mill?
Watkins Mill Farm.
Watkins Mill Farm in Marysville, Ohio. And if you happen to be in Central Ohio and close to the Marysville area, check these guys out and check out their Facebook page. I'll make sure to put a link in the video. So thanks a lot, Jason. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you coming out.
And man, we have to get together a little more often than every 25 years?
Or something like that. Yes.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.